Hi girls, I'm going to run through with you how to complete exercise 2, which is the pigtails hairdressing exercise in Xero. So the first thing you'll need to do is actually set up the organisation. So you need to click on the current business that you're working from and then go to My Xero and click on the green button, Add an Organisation. Okay, so firstly, what is the name of your organisation? So in the question it says it is your name and then pigtails hairdressing. So I'll put my teacher code in, but you would put in your full name. So SDF pigtails hairdressing. Okay, we're in Australia, we're in Brisbane, so we can change the time to Brisbane. And what does our organisation do? That's a good question. We appear to be some kind of hairdressing services business. So you could have any of those, but hairdressing services will be fine. For the previous accounting software, we're just going to assume none, and we're going to start our trial. Okay, now that we've set up our business, we need to go into settings and change ourselves to an advisor. So that is within users in general settings, and you click on your name and then simply change from standard to advisor and save that one. All right, so the question asks us to complete the following steps. So the first thing we need to do is import the chart of accounts with conversion balances, and the conversion month we're told is July 2017. To import your chart of accounts, you can go to settings. Chart of accounts can be found within general settings, or it's already allocated as one of our favorites. So we can click on it straight from there. So if you click on the import button, we're going to navigate to our CSV file and upload it. We were told in the question that we want to import with conversion balances. So this one here, does the file you are importing contain account balances? So conversion balances means that the accounts have balances in them. So we're going to say yes to that. We're going to adjust our month to July, and then we'll browse for that file. So if we go this one, and there's our chart of accounts there. Open that one and import. So all we need to do now is to confirm. And once that loads, we have put in our chart of accounts. And the next thing, number 2, it says make the following changes to the chart of accounts. So we want to create 2 new accounts and then delete one. So the first one we'll create, if we click on add account, we can type in, it says 408 for cleaning, which is an expense account, and we want GST on expenses for the tax setting. So we'll start typing in expense, it comes up for us. Account number 408, cleaning. We can leave the description empty because it is optional. It's already said that yes, we want GST on expenses, so that's all okay. You can click this bottom one, enable payments to this account, and then click save. Okay, so we'll add the second one in the same way, add account. This one is a revenue account. The code we want is 270, and we're going to call it interest income. Again, we'll leave the description empty, and it is GST free income, so we need to adjust that one there. GST free income, and again we'll enable payment. Actually, we won't enable payments on that one, so we can save that. Now the third one says to delete 494 travel international. So if we scroll down to find 494, there it is, and click this box over on the left and scroll back up to the top and simply click the delete button. And it'll ask you if you're sure you want to delete, and we're going to click OK. And that completes number 2. The next step is to add in a bank account. So we're going to actually we can do it from here, add bank account, or you can go into the accounts tab at the top and click on bank accounts and then add a bank account from there. Either way will work fine for you. So we're going to use the Westpac Bank. If we start typing that in, it'll come up. The name of the account is the business bank account. The type of account is an everyday account. Our BSB is 858444, and then looks like 6 more 4s for the account number. And we're also told the account balance, so we can save this or continue. I'm going to skip that part. And because we're told that we've got $10,000 in that account, we can actually go to our general settings and put that into the conversion balances. So here we've got bank account. At the moment it's saying it's nil, but we're actually going to type into the debit side the $10,000 that's in that account. Okay, whoops, that's fine. And save. Okay, so see at the top there, it's got the green bar to say that we have successfully saved that conversion balance or account balance. So the next step now is to import a bank statement. So if we go back to our bank account, in reality, you would simply click on the Get Bank Feeds and you would get the bank statement from your actual bank. It would set up an automatic link to that bank and you'd be able to do that there. Because this is a practice question, we're actually going to manually import a statement because we don't have a real bank account attached. So we can browse and we can find that bank statement and open it and then import. Now this next page that comes up is simply just asking you, is this correct? So they've said the date, the amount and the payee, is that correct what they've picked up, which they have because it was in a Xero format. So that's fine, you can just click save for that one. And it lets us know that 8 statement lines were imported and 0 were duplicates. So we are happy with that, we'll click OK. The next step is to enter the following transactions. So you're being given a whole list of different invoices and bills that you need to record. So we can do that from the accounts part. So invoices we can record in the sales section and purchases in the inventory section. So if we go firstly to sales to enter the invoice on the 8th of July for Emma, we can click on the new and it'll come up with a new invoice for us. So we're going to say to Emma, and the date is the 8th of July, which was given to us in the question. The due date is the same day, so we'll keep it as 8 July 2017. We're going to change the amounts are to tax inclusive. And down in description, we'll say style cut rendered. Quantity we'll put in as 1, and the unit price will just say as the full amount, the $80. Okay, so you can see there that we've got GST on income, it's allocated the account sales, and you can see the breakdown down the bottom where GST on that is $7.27. Right, so we're happy with that, all the details are in, so we're going to click approve. And we've recorded our first invoice. On the 9th of July we had a bill for rent paid. So we're going to go into our purchases and we're going to click on new. And we're going to say that it was from R. Anderson. Our date is 9 July 2017. And the due date is 7 days after, so it'll be the 16th of July 2017. Okay. Now in our description, we're going to put in that it was for rent. Our quantity will be 1 and 1200. Now, a little bit different to the invoice where we haven't actually been allocated an account. So we need to find that account. So you can click the drop down arrow and it comes up with expense accounts. So we can go through and pick an expense account that would be appropriate. So because this is rent, we hopefully, and there it is there, we'll find the rent account. So alternatively, instead of doing the drop down arrow, you can just start typing in and it'll come up with rent. So there you go. Okay, so we do have GST on rent when it is for a business. So that is fine there. We've taken that out and we can click approve. Okay, and there's our first bill. So it's the exact same process for each of those invoices and bills. You just have to remember, if it's an invoice, go to sales. If it's a bill, go to purchases. So I'm going to go through those quite quickly now, and then I'll show you how to reconcile the bank account. So we'll go back to, oh no, it is another bill. So we can just quickly go add another bill. And this time it was from Optus. And it was the 10th of July. We're not told the due date, so we'll just set it at the same date. It's automatically put that in as inclusive, so that is good. And we're going to say mobile phone use, 110. The account here, if we have a look at our list of expenses, we should find something useful, probably down in T, where it says telephone and internet would be the most appropriate. It's recording GST on that, so we're going to approve. On the 17th, we had an invoice. So if I go to sales, we'll add a new invoice, and it was $80 for upstyling for Paris. So put in Paris's name, 17 July, and the due date we are told is the same day. So we'll put that in as well. This time we need to change it back to tax inclusive. It hasn't picked that up. Our description is upstyling. Upstyling will be fine. Quantity 1, and the unit price was $80. It's picked up that it's for sales. We've got GST on income, so we're happy with that and we'll approve it. We've got a second invoice on the 19th, so we can click on add another invoice. And this time it's for Lucy, and it's on the 19th of July. And we've got a due date 10 days from the invoice, so we'll say the 29th of July. All right, again, we'll change this to tax inclusive. And our description is a style cut and color. Quantity 1 as always, and the price is $320. It's a sale and it's GST on income, so we can approve that one. On the 22nd, we had a bill to record repairs and maintenance of the basin to Mickelson Plumbing. So we need to go back to our purchases section and click new. And in here we'll say it's from Mickelson Plumbing. Oops. The date was the 22nd of July. The due date, there's a bill owing in 21 days. So we need to count on 21 days, which is 3 weeks. So there's 1, 2, it'll be the 27th. Oops, I'm in the wrong month. So there's 3 weeks, 1, 2. It will in fact be the 12th of August. So that it's tax inclusive, which is what we want. Our description will be repairs and maintenance of basin. Quantity 1, the unit price is $2.50. Our account, if we were to look, we could put in the drop down arrow, or I might just start typing repairs, and there's an account called repairs and maintenance, which is perfect. We've recorded our GST, so we can approve that one as well. And then the last transaction is on the 23rd of July, was also a bill, so I'll click add another bill. And this one is to record the distribution of flyers to 1,000 households. So it is an advertising flyer, and it was payable on the same day. So if I say it is from the Shelby Flyer distributors, the date was the 23rd of July. The due date is payable on the same day. So we'll put in that. It's already got tax inclusive in there for us, so that is good. The description will be distribution of flyers to 1,000 households. The quantity was 1, the unit price was $5.50, and the account we were told it was to do with advertising, so we're going to use the advertising account. Okay. GST has been calculated correctly, so we're going to approve that one. Okay, and that has brought us to the end of step number 5, which is enter the transactions. So the next thing we need to do is actually reconcile the bank account. So to make sure that what's coming through our bank is correct and in line with what we've got recorded within our software. So we do that by going to the bank account. So if we find, here's our Westpac Business Bank account, and if you actually look down, there's a little blue button that says reconcile 8 items. So we can click on that and it will take us to the bank statement. So what you're seeing on the left-hand side are the actual bank statement items. So what was recorded in and out of our bank account. So you can see money spent is on this side and money received on this side. And then on the right side is Xero, the software being very clever and figuring out that we entered an invoice on the 8th of July for $80, Emma, and it's found this E. Hanlon and it thinks it's the same thing. So we would need to verify that against our records and say, well, yes, E. Hanlon is Emma. So once we had made sure that that was correct, we can click the OK button and it actually disappears because now it's been reconciled. So we can see very clearly Optus and Optus, so that's okay. R. Anderson, that one's fine. Paris, Lucy, and Shelby Flyer distributors. Okay, so we've reconciled all of those ones, but we've got 2 here that we're not sure about. So we've got an owner deposit and a BP expense. We'll start off with the BP one. So BP, we know, is a petrol station, hopefully, and it's money that we've spent. So we might assume that that one has to do with some kind of petrol maintenance. So look, if we have a look through our expenses, we might be able to find something suitable. So there's something here called freight and courier. Could be part of that one. It could be more likely this motor vehicle expenses. Okay, so if there's anything else, it could be travel. We could put it in a number of those accounts. We might actually put it in travel. Okay, so you enter description, petrol for travel expenses. Okay, and then we're going to click on the add details. And you can see here it's recorded all in there, and we'll save that transaction. And now we can click OK and reconcile that item. Okay, now the other one is an owner deposit. So this time we've received that money. It's not even going to let us do it. So we're actually going to put it in the owner A, which is just the owner A, their share capital. So we're going to record it in there, and we're just going to say deposit from owner. We'll add those details, make sure it's selected it correctly, which it has, save the transaction, and then click OK. So great job, we've reconciled all the transactions for that account. Okay, so that's step 6. And then the next step that you need to be able to do for your exam and just in general is to actually print some reports. So it's wonderful to have all of this data, but if we can't create any reports or see it in a more useful way, it's not going to support our business very well. So we're going to go to the Reports tab, and we're going to go to All Reports. Now, if you have a look through here, there are lots and lots of reports to print. But for our purposes, we want to print the profit and loss statement, as well as the balance sheet, which is at the top of the financial section. And we're also going to print what we call a detailed general ledger, which you can access through the general ledger. So we'll start off with the profit and loss. So if we click into that, we need to play around a little bit, because if we have a look at this, we've only got data so far for July, for the month of July. So we've got all of these other months showing that we don't really need because it's just nil at the moment. So we're going to go across to this Compare Periods tab. We're going to change our month to July, which is the month that we care about at the moment. And we're going to say that we don't want to compare it to other periods. We don't have a budget. And the year to date at this point, YTD, is going to be the same because we only have 1 month. So we don't really need to see that either. So we've got July. We're only going to look at 1 month. We're not going to compare it to anything, and we're not going to show any totals or year to date. So if you click Update, you can now see a much more simplified version of the profit and loss. Okay, so that's all really nice, but you actually want to export this to PDF. Okay, and if I open that up, you'll find that it looks very nice. It's all laid out really nicely and very professionally. So it's for the month ended 31 July. And unfortunately, we've actually run a loss. So that is a negative $1,600. But that's okay. You would then go and save that to your folder, and then you'd also print out a copy. So let's go back to our Xero and let's have a look at how we would do the balance sheet. Okay, so here's our balance sheet. And again, it's looking a bit messy. Well, at the moment it's comparing last year to this year, and it's looking only at September. So we actually need to adjust our date to July. And we're going to say compare to, well, we didn't have any information last year, so we'll just say none. And we don't have any previous periods, so we'll make that none as well, and we'll update that one. So you can see now it's very clear. We've got our assets, our liabilities, and our equity. And you'll see net assets are the same figure as our total equity, which is what we would expect. So again, we're going to export that one to PDF. And once we open it, all looks nice. And you would then go and save that one and print it out. Okay. Back to our Xero, and we'll go back to Reports and All Reports. And this is where we need to find our general ledger. Okay. So the general ledger, again, we need to adjust the dates because September doesn't have any transactions in it. So from the 1st of July to the 31st of July are the dates that we want. We're happy to sort it by account name rather than account code. We don't need any of this ticked, that is fine. So we're just going to click Update. And we've got a whole list of all the accounts that had some kind of movement in them over the month. The problem is, though, we can't really see what actually happened, what transactions were recorded, because it's only it just shows the overall movement. So what we need to do is actually export what we call the detailed general ledger, and that one is exported to Excel. So if we click that button, it will download an Excel spreadsheet for us. And if I open this up and say enable editing, you can see here in our accounts payable, we've got all the transactions that we recorded throughout the month. So both the invoices that we put in for R. Anderson Optus, for example, and then when we reconciled that bank account, it recorded those payments for us. So we can see all of those different transactions. Okay, so this is much more detailed and tells us a lot more information than just the basic general ledger. All right, so when you're printing this one, it's really important that you go to File, Print, and then you adjust these settings. So the main one is the scaling, because if I have a look at this over on the right, and I scroll through these pages, it splits it all up and it looks really messy. It's really hard to read. So what you need to do is change no scaling to fit all columns on one page. So that puts everything on one page, and then it goes over to the next page, which is fine. You could put it fit sheet on one page, but it gets a bit small. So all columns on one page will be fine, and then you would click print. Okay. I go back, and you would also save that one. And that, girls, is everything that you need to do to complete this exercise 2. And you can use the same process to practice the other exercises, and then you should be well and truly ready for the exam.